Hello. Chris will try to join me later on, and if he's not able to make it, I'm not going to keep this very long. I just wanted to get these couple of thoughts off of my chest. Um, Shout outs to those larger names which I shouted out on Twitter um, about this live stream. Um, it's because it's I normally wouldn't do this at all. I normally don't try to reach out to and tag a bunch of people in it. But I feel like we're all having this similar problem, and I'm talking about the censorship. And at first, I focused mainly on it being mainly YouTube, and YouTube is a big factor in it. But one of the things I need to also start thinking about is sometimes the call is coming from inside the house. And what I noticed is some of the new viewers, which I've gotten recently, they come and then they go really quickly. And then I'll have one of my live streams gets taken down. And then I'll see Jordan Sheridan has a live stream taken down. And we'll all just assume that it's YouTube, and it could possibly be. But when you're having a correlation of your video getting taken down and then you losing subscribers right after it, we got to do the math here and realize that some of these people in our viewership are some of the very ones that are trying to take us down. And I think that what we need to do, what I've been doing, is trying to isolate who they are. And I know it's harder for a lot of the bigger platforms, but those people in the audience, you all know who each other are. You guys talk to each other through whatever Facebook falling outs that you have. So it's easy to start targeting these people if you will help us out as content creators to try to weed out some of these people who are giving us so many headaches. We spend a lot of time and effort trying to educate the audience about whatever. And speaking first and foremost for my channel, I take the time to ask whatever question, and it's up for my audience to decide how they feel about those questions. I'm not trying to tell anybody what they should do or how they should think, and I don't believe any other content creator is doing that also. So when you're putting these strikes on people and you're whatever reason you come up with for feeling like you have a problem with their opinion off of information and research which they or I myself might have seen which you haven't seen. My last show, it got strike down because of what is a COVID egregiously harmful statements. Now, I talked about stories of medication. I didn't I didn't say anything but what was in the articles. One of the first ones I have here is from Newsweek. It says fact check, did American Journal recommend hydrochloroquine? Now, I'm reading an article. That's not me right. Next one. I read an article discussing uh, about what is it? I always have a tough time saying it's the one with the I. I'll just call it Ivor. Um, how it's unapproved by the FDA, but a local doctor is using it anyway. Now, that's what somebody else is doing. We're all adults here. You make up your own decision what you want to put in your body and what you don't want to put in your body. And that goes to another point which I brought up. With the history of this country, to expect a show which is led by a black man with two other black co-hosts, and you expect us as black men to just sit there and trust whatever some crazy scientist comes up with and says, go ahead, trust it. Even though I know the history of clinical trials, how long it takes for them normally to put a drug on the market, all the testing, how many years, the testing the people after the fact. I know how long all of these things take and how long it normally takes before the FDA approves something, and they've been able to test all the side effects over time. That said, they're rushing this out and say, oh, well, just trust that we were able to do it in warp time. I'm not going to trust that, especially with the track record of this government. Something that went on in most minority neighborhoods. My neighborhood in particular, the median income was about $18,000. Now, how does drugs all the way from the other side of, but let's say other side of the country, other side of the world, because a lot of these drugs were coming from Afghanistan, they were coming from South America. Most of the people in my neighborhood didn't have money to even buy a plane ticket to go to New York City. So how were they able to start these drug empires? Somebody decided to put those drugs in those neighborhoods, and it definitely wasn't us. There are police officers, CIA, former CIA officers, which have written books about some of the things which have went on with clandestine activities within our own government. You have what happened down in Puerto Rico when they were sterilizing women for the same amount of time and exactly about the same length of time as the Tuskegee trials were going on. We have all of those things going on. We have so many reasons not to trust this government. The Native Americans have signed over 400 pacts and agreements, and the United States government has broken every single one. Every time we get a new president, everything switches up. So I'm supposed to just trust this guy because he's not the last guy. Well, I'm not going to do that. Myself, personally speaking, the reason why I don't do as many live streams or as many shows in general as a lot of the other content creators is because I do work a full-time job. I work 40 hours a week, sometimes a little bit more. And I also used to want to be in the mold of trying to be right there and try to be out and fresh and on top of the story as fast as all the other outlets. But I realized that they have an ability to be able to do that. They have more time, more allocated in different ways. They have teams and groups, and that helps. Or some of them are just a lot better at it. I have a little bit more connections. That said, I realized that a better approach for myself was to hear out the different versions of all of these different stories, to research them, fact check them on my own. After I would do that, then I would flush out those different opinions with other people who have done the same research. The reason why is because I want somebody who understands the subject in totality. And it's not about you just glomming on to an idea. The whole point of my show is breaking out of sitting in that box. I don't speak for leftists or left-wing people, and I know a lot of people assume that because I used to be a really hardcore leftist. I don't speak for right-wing either. I speak only what I believe is right or wrong or what I see that's going on out there. It's not about me being the smartest or being the fastest or even being close to the biggest show, because I'm definitely not. And I don't really try to be. I don't try to, put out, my Cash App or anything like that, because that's not my goal. And I'm not knocking anybody that does that. I'm not knocking if I do that one day. But my sole purpose starting out was, as I uncovered information, I wanted to share it with people. And I continue to try to do that as humbly, as honestly as I can. And if you don't like my content, you don't like whether it's Jimmy Dore, you don't like Franco, you don't like whoever, or we have a show where you just don't agree with something, don't run and be the one that stabs us in the back, because we already get enough obstruction by just the way the algorithm is set anyway against us. There are so many things that we have going against us. And it takes so much time for some of us to even set up and start a show. Some people might not have internet. Some people are paying extra money to be able to get this source or that source to set up, whatever backgrounds they use. They might be paying people because they've grown and they have a staff. When you guys get on because you don't like one little thing that's said, and you completely just cut us off at the knees. This isn't like CBS or CNN. Yeah, you can do that all day long to those people. It doesn't really matter. Plus, they're going to be protected anyway. We have no protection. So why don't you guys instead just, if you don't like our content, just move on. Let's see. DJ Jeff, well, I got a little, yeah, you got a show too. And I guess we can talk about your show. I will DM me, and then I'll leave it at that. Um, but I just wanted to get this thought pattern out. I don't want to keep this one very long. It's just something that's been bothering me. Today is my birthday, and I don't even really celebrate birthdays, but just the fact that it's had me in such a bad mood, because I know how much research I do for every single project that I do, that it's insulting, it's infuriating. I am myself have studied history literally since the ages when most kids, all they want to do is play. That was my passion, and that's what I've always studied. And if you haven't studied the totality of what I'm even talking about, for you to get in there and insult it, you don't know what stories I'm talking about. And if it's comment about the video, which I showed towards the end, that video is on YouTube. So why is that not? Why don't you go around and strike those programs? Why don't you go strike the programs which cover those stories also? I mean, I don't want to keep this hanging on, and I think I got my point across. But some of you out there, if you have an idea who some of these people are, let us know. There's ways we can block them from the channel. And if we find out that it is one or two people who is actually going around and sabotaging our programs, and you know who it is, let us know. And we can start trying to look out for those people, and we can put the word out so that we can block those people from all of our channels, and we can all hopefully breathe a little bit easier. Um, this is Young Morpheus for the Political Matrix. Sorry, but I'm just a little bit frustrated by this. You guys all have a good one. Take care.